guys, and welcome to the 4th episode of the Carry My Heart podcast. I'm Carrie. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry at KECogan. You can also find my blog at the address kerryecogan.blogspot.com, where I post pretty regularly about knitting and what books I'm reading and just everyday life kind of stuff. And as of a few days ago, you can also find a Ravelry group for this podcast. I would really love if you would go and join our little community over there. And you can find that just at Carry My Heart Podcast on Ravelry. And I will leave a link to that in the description box. And from this point on, that is where you will be able to find my show notes for the episodes. So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right in. I have some finished objects to show you all, which I'm really excited about. It's obviously been a while since my last podcast, for which I apologize. I took, originally was taking a week off for Easter, and then the spring quarter of classes started, and so I've just been really busy with class and work, and as a result, I got some stuff to show y'all, which is really fun. So the first thing is the basket rib hand towel, which is a second item for me. The first one I knit 2.5 years ago, and then after I finished that one, I promptly cast this on, and it is just now a finished object. So I guess you could say I suffer from second sock syndrome, or second item syndrome, because this took me a while. I couldn't get through it, but I'm really glad to have it done now so that the other hand towel finally has a mate. Of course, the other hand towel has been well loved and is looking a little worse for the wear, but I finally have a matching set, even though they're not perfect matches anymore. But I knit this using Knit Picks Dishy yarn and the colorway Tranquil. I love Dishy. It's so practical and useful for items like this. I really love a good practical knit. So highly recommend Dishy. It's 100% cotton, so it can be a little hard to work with. Sort of makes your hands ache a little bit after a while. At least it did for me. But I still really enjoy it, and for knitting a few rows here and there, it's really not bad to work with. So, plus it's really durable. So the second item I have to show you is what I'm wearing right now. This is the Antarctic shawl. I am so happy to have this done. It has exceeded all of my expectations. Of course, it was beautiful while I was working on it, but once I blocked it, I was so impressed with how it looked. It blocked out huge too. I believe it is 64 inches wide, and that's as tall as I am. So this thing is enormous, which I love. It is definitely the biggest shawl that I've finished, and it lays really nicely. The yarn is from Hearthside Fibers and their Poison Dart Frog colorway, which is yarn that I picked up at YarnCon last year. And the colors are just so beautiful. I'm sure the camera doesn't even do it justice, because up close, there's these blues and purples and periwinkles and indigos, and I really, really love it. So this is Hearthside Fibers Vanilla Sock Space, which I believe is, I want to say 75% merino, 25% nylon, or maybe it's 80-20. It's somewhere in that general sock yarn range, and it's really nice. It got really soft after I washed it, and like I said, it has exceeded all of my expectations. And to be perfectly honest, my expectations were pretty high, so I'd say it worked out pretty well. So, and obviously I love the pattern, because moving on to works in progress, the first work in progress I have to show you, which I am keeping in this project bag that my mother-in-law so graciously sewed for me, I am working on yet another Antarctic shawl. I can't get enough. I just loved it so much. So this is knitting up slightly differently because the pattern calls for a fingering weight yarn, which is what I made this out of, and this is a sport weight yarn, so I had to go up 2 needle sizes to get the drape that I wanted, and so as a result, this thing is gonna be huge. I might do fewer pattern repeats than is called for, but we'll see. But for now, I'm really loving it. I kept trying to find the perfect pattern for this yarn. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne Sport, and just everything else that I kept trying wasn't quite working out. I tried to use it to crochet the Halstead shawl, which is a pattern I've done before as well. And these little bits of gray intermixed with the blue were somehow color pooling in really strange ways. They were pretty much forming like little quarter-sized polka dots all over the shawl, which was definitely not the look I was going for. So I sadly had to rip all of that out, even though I had quite a bit of it done. But loving the Antarctic shawl. And I am so in love with this color. This color makes me swoon a little bit, actually, because so David, my fiance, bought me this yarn, and when he gave it to me, he told me that he wanted to buy me yarn that matched my eyes. So he's a keeper. I'm gonna hold on to that one. But anyways, I'm just loving this yarn. I've used their fingering weight of this yarn before for a shawl and loved how it blocked out. So I'm really excited to see what this is gonna look like when it's done. And it caked up really, really well. And which I wasn't surprised about, but this yarn definitely has really beautiful stitch definition. So really, really in love with it. No surprise there. So the other thing that I've been working on, you have seen before. I am slowly chugging away on my Tiffany triangle shawl, which is slowly getting bigger. I really need to stick a little progress keeper on here because I'm sure to you all it looks exactly the same. I can definitely tell it's bigger, but it's just this complicated lace, and so it's taking forever, especially since it's using a lace weight yarn. So this is, again, Knit Picks. This is their gloss lace yarn in the colorway Port. And so it's so, so gorgeous. And I mean, it's a slow going pattern just because there's so many tiny little stitches. But that being said, I'm getting faster at it because the pattern has become a lot more intuitive. However, I'm about to start a new chart of the pattern, so it's going to be totally different, so I might eat my words. But for now, I'm really loving it. I knit on this quite a bit yesterday, so I'm thrilled with it. It's going to be so beautiful. I don't really have any other shawl or garment in this color, and so it's going to go really great, I hope, with anything that I wear. So, I mean, I wear a lot of white because, funny enough, I wear a lot of white because when I was younger, my mom told me that I looked really good in white, and I think that has sort of stuck with me. And I agree. I think it, people say that people with blonde hair look really good in black because of the contrast. So I'm like, I look good in white because of the contrast with my hair. So it's my story and I'm sticking to it. So I have a lot of white, and so obviously this is going to look amazing against any white clothes. So love it. Love it, love it, love it. I really want to be working on it right now, to be perfectly honest. So those are my works in progress. So let's talk a little bit about spinning. I showed you all last time that I picked up some merino top from Vogue Fabrics, and I have been slowly spinning it up. I got, I think, 8 ounces, and so every color came in 1 ounce balls. And I've just been taking a bunch of all the different colors and spinning them all in a row. So you probably can't see it, but there's a tiny little bit of the lilac color underneath, and then I used the maroon, and now I'm working on the lemon color. Even underneath all of this, there's just some basic white. So it's been really fun. I've just been, like I said, one color after the other. I haven't been using up every single ounce. I've probably pulled out maybe a 1/4 ounce and then spun it. So I obviously have quite a bit of all of these colors still left. But I'm just doing it one after the other because I really like hand spun that has the barber pulling effect. So I'm really excited to see how this is going to look. So of course, I'm fairly new to spinning, so I don't have a really good idea of how much I need to spend to get a certain amount of yarn. But that being said, my singles have gotten a lot more consistent. I'm really, really happy with the work I've been doing. And yeah, I hope this makes really beautiful yarn one day, because I really want to use my hand spun. I want to knit with it. So I don't know what I'm going to knit with all of these crazy colors combined into one skein of yarn, but that being said, I'm open to ideas. Maybe have just like a crazy scarf or something. So I think I could rock that. So that is my spinning. I've been loving it. I've been working on it off and on. So I usually pick a day and just do spinning that day instead of doing some knitting. And I've been really, really enjoying it. So take a little bit of a tea break. Hopefully it's cooled off. It's really good. This is David's tea. This is Irish breakfast. And I'm drinking it out of my Keep Calm and Drink tea mug, which is perfect. It's perfect for me. It's pretty much my life mantra. So, and it's really, really good. So let's move on to some acquisitions. So as you all know, I went to YarnCon this past weekend, and it was a blast. I had so much fun. I went to YarnCon for the first time last year, and so I had pretty high expectations this year, and I loved it all. I think my expectations were met in different ways than I was, I guess, expecting. I loved it all. I think I had different experiences this time because now that I know how to spin, I was really taking into account all of the fiber that was there, whereas last year I was all about yarn. This year I was still all about yarn, but this year I could also look at all the fiber and sort of know what it all was, which was really exciting, and take in all the different colors. And I saw some sock blanks, which was really cool because up until maybe a month or two ago, I didn't know what a sock blank was. And so just everything was so much fun. I went both Saturday and Sunday. I got there early both days, right when it opened. And actually on Sunday, funny enough, so for the first people to walk in the door at YarnCon, you get a project bag, which is actually over there. I really don't know why I left it so far away. You get a project bag. And so this is a little embarrassing. I was actually the first person to walk in the door because I got there early. So I got a free project bag, which was awesome. Not really project bag, it's more of a tote bag, but I'll probably use it for projects. So anyways, YarnCon was so much fun. It was April 2nd and 3rd, and here in Chicago, and it was it was such a joy. Okay, so actually this is their little logo, and this is what's on the front of the bag, so you can sort of give an idea. So I don't have to like dart off screen for a minute. So yeah, YarnCon was just so amazing. It did not let me down at all. Saturday, I mostly just wandered around and took it all in. For a few hours, I only purchased one thing on Saturday because I didn't want to have too many impulse buys. So what I did was I just walked around and I took pictures of everything that I was really interested in, sort of to take a mental note and mull it over for the night and then do any purchasing on Sunday. So I'll go ahead and show you what I bought on Saturday. I got this gorgeous skein of yarn. This is from Essential Fiber, which you can find at essentialfiber.com. I tried to find them on Instagram, and I don't think they're on Instagram, which I definitely think they should get on Instagram because I would definitely follow them. But this is their essential fingering yarn. It is 412 yards for 4 ounces. It's 50% merino, 50% tinsel, which I had to look up, and it's just a synthetic. So it gives it a little bit of oomph. And this is the colorway I'm Your Huckleberry. So, and I love this color. I'm not usually a pink person, but this really drew me in. I guess because it definitely has some purple undertones to it. Let's see if I can, come on, you can do it. There we go. So it's so pretty. And it is unbelievably soft. And I'm so thrilled with this. And of course, I'm probably going to use it for a shawl, if I'm being perfectly honest. I'm really been on a shawl kick recently. So all I want to make is shawls, and I really don't know why. I guess because I'm sort of trying to fill in gaps in my accessory wardrobe. And I want a lot more knitted garments that I could also wear during the summer. So just something light to throw on in the evening in case it's a little cool. And shawls really fit that bill. So bought this gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And actually, so I had some regret after I left YarnCon. Essential Fiber had another colorway that was their colorway of the month, and it haunted me. I regretted not buying it so badly. And so I was going through all my YarnCon things yesterday in anticipation of filming this podcast, and I actually found that when I bought this, I got a little coupon code. So I went on their website and I bought that yarn. So look for it next week. If it comes in by next week, look for it soon, I should probably say. It is so gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie, I bought it because it kind of looks like a cat. It is like a white, off-white base with bits of black and soft oranges, and so it really just reminded me of a cat. And you'll understand why when I show it to you. So love to death. And also with my purchase, I got a free little mini. It's very mini. I'm not even sure that it would make, I don't even think I could use it for anything of substance. So future project confession time. Because all the other podcasters I watch are such enablers, I have been thinking a lot about starting, what do people call it? Their Cozy Memories blanket, which is just they use minis and all of their extras to make pretty much like a knitted patchwork blanket. And I've been super envious of everybody else's, and so I've been thinking about it, even though I don't have a lot of scrap yarn. And like I said, I don't know if this would even be enough. I'm not even sure how long it is. But that being said, if you do have one of those blankets that you are working on, would you please tell me approximately how much yarn it takes you for each square? I would really appreciate that. It would give me a better idea if this is something I should start doing or if I'm way over my head. So anyways, I picked out this color because orange is not my color at all, and so I would never pick this up regularly, but it spoke to me, and I figured why not? So, okay, I'm sorry about that. For some reason, the recording stopped. Hopefully it won't do that again. So, what I also bought, I visited the Florida Fiber booth, which is run by a woman who is local to Chicago, but unfortunately she's moving east. So she's moving east to Massachusetts, I think. I'm not sure exactly, but the long story short was that all of her yarn was on serious discount. So I picked up these beauties, which, let's see, this is her Great Lakes DK base. This is 100% merino, 240 yards per skein, and the colorway is Nebraska. So this is not typically a color I would go for. However, Jenny of Tiny Paper Foxes, this is pretty much her signature color. At least it's what I think her signature color is. She is really drawn to these golden colors, and while it's not a color that I typically, jump at, I'm more drawn towards blues and purples. She has gotten me hooked on this color. Every time I watch one of her podcasts or see an Instagram post of hers, I'm in love. I'm in love with these golden colors now. So I couldn't resist these. They are so beautiful. And I also loved the name of the colorway, Nebraska, because David is originally from Nebraska. So he buys me yarn that reminds him of my eyes. I buy yarn that inadvertently reminds me of him. So I am so in love with these, and I have in mind a shawl pattern that I want to make with these. So I might hoard these for a while and just look at them and pet them and admire them before I start it, but I do have something in mind for these, I think. So, and also, side note, these skeins smell really good. I don't know what Florida Fiber does with their skeins that makes them smell so good, but these smell amazing. So at Florida Fiber, I also got 2 minis because, once again, I've been thinking about starting that minis blanket. And so I got these 2, which are so pretty. This one honestly looks like it could be like the baby of these 2 yarns, but which I just think is funny. So, but I am really impressed with her yarn. I've never used it before, but it's just really soft and springy. And so these are going to be awesome. So stay tuned for the decision of whether or not I'm going to start a Cozy Memories blanket, because minis are winning me over. So that is all I have for acquisitions. I was pretty good at YarnCon. I set myself a budget and I didn't actually come close to hitting it. I only spent about half of it. But like I said, I did have some regrets, and I went ahead and purchased online from Essential Fiber. But other than that, I'm so pleased with what I got, and just everything was so much fun. Oh, and I almost forgot, actually. So this past weekend at YarnCon, at the Esther's Place booth, I tried needle felting for the first time, which is something I've been wanting to try for a while, ever since Andy of Andre Sue Knits started needle felting. I would watch her podcast, and I just loved all the little things that she was making. And so I got to make a little heart, which will hopefully focus, but it is not. It's focusing a little bit. But the woman who was doing the demonstration for us said to pick 3 colors. I picked 5. Which was maybe a little overkill, but I was like, purple's my favorite, and I love blue. All this pink is pretty. And then I was like, well, everyone else is doing blue, purple, and pink. I'm going to add some green and yellow as well. So it's a little muddy. The purple is a little muddy, but I love my little heart. And she gave us all a little safety pin to put on the back. And so I wore it around YarnCon the rest of the day. And I almost bought a needle felting kit. I restrained myself because I told myself that I do not need any more crafts right now, but I'm still thinking about it and it might happen. I might put it on the list of gifts to get myself, not for me to purchase, but whenever like my birthday rolls around, people are always like, oh, what do you want for your birthday? And I can never come up with anything. So I might put it on a mental list of things to tell people to get me. So maybe that's what I'll do. So, and speaking of little pens that you can wear, I also picked up some buttons. This was from the May Be a Crafted booth. And so I picked up 3 buttons. First one, come on, Yarn Snob, very accurate. The next one I got says spinning because knitting wasn't weird enough. I'm sorry, these aren't focusing. And the last one is sort of an inside joke between David and myself. It says, well, it doesn't say anything. It's a picture of an olive and a little U. So, olive you, I love you. So I couldn't resist, and they were only $1 a piece. So it was such a good time. So, and another reason YarnCon was so memorable was because I got to meet up with Devin of Franco Fee Knits. She drove up from Indiana to come to YarnCon, and it was such a joy to meet her. I truly enjoyed the time that we got to sit and knit together and just chat and talk and enjoy each other's company. She is even more of a joy in person, which I didn't think was possible because she just seems like the sweetest person on her podcast. And then, yeah, guys, it's true in reality as well. So, Devin, it was so nice to spend time with you and to knit, and I hope you're going to come back up to Chicago soon because we should definitely make plans to do it again. So, yay. And I also want to give a shout out to Jessie of the Hungry Cat podcast. So I have been following Jessie on Instagram for quite some time. I'd say over a year and a half maybe. And I followed her Instagram because she is a knitting fiend. She is especially, at least known to me, for knitting socks. She knits all of the socks, and I admire her so much because I am not a sock knitter. But she gave me a really sweet shout out on her podcast, and I just wanted to do the same because I've been enjoying her podcast so much. I love her little kitty, Bruce. He is hilarious trying to get into things, and I really enjoy your podcast, Jessie, so thanks for giving me a shout out. So I think that is all I have for this week. Hopefully I will be back on track and have another episode for next week. Again, I apologize for the delay between episodes, but thanks for sticking around. And if you're a new viewer, I hope you really enjoyed this episode, and I hope you'll come back and stay for a little while. So, and don't forget to join the Ravelry group because I would love to chat with you over there. So, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.